The ceiling fan above my bed made a dull, rhythmic click as it spun, barely pushing the warm, humid air around my room. It was one of those early summer evenings where the heat felt personal, like it wasn't just in the air, but buried beneath your skin. Outside, the sky was still clinging to the last shades of daylight, streaked with muted orange and deepening purples. Cicadas hummed in the distance. I had been lying on my back for over an hour, scrolling aimlessly through my phone, rereading old messages, pretending I wasn't waiting. Sam was supposed to be here by now. We hadn't seen each other in nearly 2 months, not since he left for college on the other side of the state. We'd stayed in touch, sure, late-night calls, random memes, short check-ins, but it wasn't the same. And now, with my parents out of town and the house feeling strangely empty, I felt this ache inside me I couldn't quite explain. Not loneliness. Not exactly. The kind of ache that felt like a question you were scared to ask. I checked the clock again. 7:42 p.m. He said he'd be here at 7. Something felt off. I sat up and looked around my room. Same posters on the wall, bands we both used to blast on long drives. Same unmade bed. Same half-finished sketchbook open on the desk. But there was this feeling, an undercurrent, like the air had shifted. Or maybe I had. Then I heard it. A knock. But not at the front door. It came from the back of the house, by the kitchen, near the sliding glass doors that led to the yard. I stood, heart racing, and padded softly down the hallway. Each step felt too loud against the hardwood. Another knock. This time, slower. I turned the corner, and there he was. Sam. Still tall, still lean, still with that ridiculous head of curly hair that made him look like he'd just rolled out of someone else's dream. But something was different. His jaw was sharper, his eyes heavier. He looked tired. Older. I opened the door without saying a word, and he walked in like he owned the place, like he always used to, but stopped halfway into the kitchen. He didn't smile. Instead, he reached into his backpack, pulled out a half-empty bottle of whiskey, and set it down on the counter. "I didn't drive," he muttered, as if that explained everything. "What's going on?" I asked. Sam just stared at me for a second too long, like he was deciding something. Then, quietly, he said, "I need to stay here tonight. I need to tell you something. But if I do, I don't know if you'll ever look at me the same way again." There was a long pause. Outside, the cicadas had stopped humming. Inside, my stomach turned. I should have asked him what he meant. I should have said something. But I didn't. I just watched him, this boy I thought I knew better than anyone, drop his eyes to the floor. And I couldn't help but wonder, what the hell happened to him while he was gone? Sam didn't say much after that. We sat in the kitchen, side by side but not touching, the bottle of whiskey between us, sweating slowly in the heat. The ice I dropped into our glasses melted almost instantly. I watched one cube collapse into itself, and for some reason, it made my throat tighten. I hadn't really planned for this, him being here, like this. Something was wrong. And not just the usual post-college angst or big city burnout. Sam seemed fractured. So, I finally said, trying to sound casual, "How's school?" He laughed, but it was dry, bitter. That's the question everyone asks. And I never know how to answer without lying. I looked at him, eyebrows raised. "So lie to me then." He took a slow sip and stared ahead. "It's great. I'm thriving. I sleep like a baby and love all my professors. My roommate doesn't bring guys over at 3 a.m. and definitely did an OD in our bathroom last month." I froze mid-sip. "Jesus, Sam." He looked over at me and grinned like it was a joke, but his eyes didn't follow. "Yeah. Fun times." We didn't speak for a few moments. The kitchen light flickered, just once, but it caught both of our attention. I made a mental note to fix that later, then immediately forgot it. My focus was entirely on Sam and the strange distance that now hung between us, like invisible fog. "You could have called me," I said, quieter now. He shrugged. "I didn't want to ruin your summer. I wanted to scream. I wanted you here. I needed to hear your voice. I missed you more than I should have. But I didn't say any of that. Instead, I said, you wouldn't have ruined anything." He looked away, biting the inside of his cheek like he always did when he didn't trust himself to speak. Later that night, we sat out back, legs stretched across the porch swing, a speaker quietly playing music between us. Sam leaned back with his arms behind his head, looking up at the stars. I was on my second drink, nursing it slowly, afraid of what would happen if I lost the tight grip I had on my tongue. That's when he asked it. Did you ever think about us? My heart dropped. I pretended not to hear him at first. I tapped the side of my glass. What do you mean? He didn't look at me. I know we joked about it before. Like back in high school. But did you ever actually think about it? Like what if? I stared at him in the dark. The crickets were deafening now. Why are you asking? He finally turned his head toward me. Because I did. I still do. It hit me like a punch to the chest. Sam. I know. Bad timing, right? He muttered, laughing at himself. I've been drinking, I'm a mess, and you probably have a boyfriend now or whatever. It's just, I've been holding this in for a long time. I swallowed hard. You're not a mess. He looked back at the stars. You have no idea. The swing creaked gently beneath us. My fingers twitched. I wanted to reach out and touch his arm. But I didn't. There was something heavy about the way he spoke, like he was hiding a body beneath every word. He took a deep breath, then said, "There's something else. Something I didn't tell anyone at school. Not even my therapist." The air felt heavier suddenly, like even the night was listening. I hooked up with someone. A guy. Just once. He paused, visibly trying to steady himself. He was older. A professor. I thought it was casual, but it got weird. Controlling. He started showing up outside my dorm. Following me after class. My blood ran cold. Sam, that's not okay. He laughed bitterly. No shit. Did you tell anyone? He shook his head. I was afraid no one would believe me. I didn't even really believe it was happening until I came home one day and he'd left a note in my jacket. I see you. That's all it said. I looked at him, stunned. And then, he added, he disappeared. Just like that. I thought maybe it was over. But 2 weeks ago, someone tried to break into my place. I didn't see who it was. But I knew. Jesus, Sam, why didn't you come home sooner? I didn't want to make it real. His voice cracked for the first time. Coming back here, I thought it would make me feel safe again. But I don't know anymore. We sat in silence. Every sound, the breeze, the creak of the swing, the far-off bark of a dog, felt amplified. I don't even know if I like guys, Sam whispered suddenly. Or if I just liked you. My heart seized. What do you mean? He turned his head toward me again. You were always the constant. The safe place. I could never figure out if it was about you or if it was about something else. Something I couldn't say out loud back then. I looked at him, really looked at him. There was nothing performative about his expression. No coy smile, no teasing undertone. Just raw fear, and maybe something close to hope. Then slowly he leaned closer. Tell me to stop, he said, his breath warm against my skin. But I didn't. Our lips touched, just barely. A breath, a moment, a single electric second of suspended disbelief. I felt everything at once. Longing, guilt, hunger, confusion, fear. Not fear of him. Fear of what this could mean. Of what it already meant. But then, I pulled away. I can't, I whispered. Not like this. Sam looked shattered and I hated myself for it. It's okay, he said quickly, retreating back into himself. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. No, don't do that. Don't pretend this didn't just happen. I'm not, he muttered. I'm just tired. He stood and walked back inside without another word. I stayed outside, the glass in my hand suddenly too heavy. I felt like the sky had fallen onto my chest and I was supposed to act like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. And then, I saw it. Across the yard, at the edge of the tree line, a shadow. Too still to be wind. Too tall to be an animal. Just standing there. Watching. I shot to my feet, heart pounding, staring into the darkness. The shape didn't move. Didn't flinch. Sam? I called into the house, my voice sharper than I intended. No answer. I turned back, and the figure was gone. Vanished. I stood there, frozen, every hair on my body standing on end. Was it just my imagination? A trick of the light? Or was it him? I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake, listening for every creak inside the house made, my ears straining for any unnatural sound. Every shadow through the curtains looked like it might move. Every branch tapping the window seemed too intentional. But it was Sam's presence down the hall, his breathing, light but uneven, that kept me rooted to the bed. That kiss still lingered on my lips, hot and confusing, like I had done something irreversible. At 3:14 a.m., I finally got up. My shirt clung to my back with sweat. I padded quietly down the hall and stood outside his door, unsure of what I was doing. I raised my hand to knock but froze before my knuckles could make contact. Then from inside, "I can't breathe, please." I pushed the door open without thinking. Sam was curled in a tight ball, sheets tangled around his legs, sweat glistening across his chest. He was gasping in short, terrified breaths, eyes darting beneath closed lids. "Sam!" I rushed to his side and grabbed his shoulder. "Sam, wake up. You're dreaming, wake up." His eyes flew open. He jolted upright and for a second he didn't recognize me. Then his body sagged against mine like a puppet whose strings had been cut. He buried his face into my neck, trembling violently. "I saw him," he whispered. "He was here." I held him tighter. "It was just a dream. You're safe." "No," he breathed, voice brittle. "I saw him at the window. He was watching me." I know it was him. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't tell if this was PTSD talking, or if he was right. The shadow I saw in the yard, the way the cicadas suddenly went quiet, the feeling of being watched, none of it felt imagined anymore. "We should call someone," I whispered. "The police. A counselor. Someone." "No one believes me," he muttered, pulling away, eyes glassy. "You think they'll believe I'm being stalked by a man I slept with? A man tenured at the university? A man who's married? Who's on every committee and board? They'll say I seduced him. They'll say I regret it and made it up." I sat there, stunned. I thought I could handle it. Thought if I just ignored it, it would go away. But now it feels like he followed me here. I grabbed his hand, cold, damp. "You're not alone in this. You hear me?" He nodded, slowly. But I wasn't sure he believed me. We sat like that for a while. Then very softly he said, "I came here because I trust you. But also because, if anything happens, I wanted it to be you who found me. Not my parents. Not the cops. You." That broke something in me. I wanted to hold him until the world stopped spinning. To protect him. To be everything he never got from anyone else. But before I could speak, we heard it. A soft click. Both of us froze. It came from the back of the house, again. Sam's eyes widened. "That's the sliding door." We got up silently. My heartbeat thundered in my ears as I grabbed the baseball bat from my closet. Sam stood close behind me, clutching the edge of my shirt like he used to when we were kids, when we snuck into horror movies and pretended not to be scared. We moved through the hallway slowly. The house felt alien now. Each corner held tension. Each wall felt like it could whisper. The kitchen light was on. The back door closed. But the lock? Turned. Unlatched. I stopped. "I locked that earlier," I whispered. "I watched you lock it," Sam replied. I stepped forward, gripping the bat tighter, and slid the door open fast. Nothing. Just the yard. The dark trees. The same eerie silence. I stepped outside, scanning left and right. "If anyone's out here," I called, trying to sound braver than I felt, "this isn't funny. I'll call the cops." No response. Then I saw it. A shoe print. Half sunken into the muddy patch by the steps. Not mine. Not Sam's. Too large. "Sam," I called, backing up, "we're not alone." He came to the doorway, pale as paper. "What do we do?" I didn't have time to answer. Because then, from the trees, just beyond the yard, a shape began to emerge. Slow, deliberate, like a dream uncoiling into reality. Sam gasped. And that's when the floodlight flickered on, briefly illuminating the man's face. And it was him. Sam's professor. The man who was supposed to be in another state. Smiling. Not just smiling, smirking. Like this was all a game to him. Then the light went out. Darkness again. Sam pulled me inside, slamming the glass door shut. I locked it. Then we double-locked it. Upstairs, I said. Now. We ran. Not because we had a plan, but because we didn't know what else to do. In my room, I grabbed my phone with shaking hands and dialed 911. But before I could hit call, Sam yanked the phone from me. No. What? Why? He said, if I ever called the cops, he'd leak everything. The photos. The texts. Even that video. My scholarship, my degree, my entire future, gone. You think any of that matters if he hurts you? I yelled, louder than I meant to. Sam flinched. I took a breath, trying to calm myself. Sam, he's here. This isn't some distant threat anymore. This is real. I know, he whispered. And then we heard it. The sound of the back door sliding open. Unlocked again. We hadn't heard the glass shatter. Hadn't heard footsteps. But someone was in the house. We didn't speak. We didn't breathe. Sam clutched my wrist with white knuckles as we listened to the house below us exhale. Floorboards shifting, the groan of old pipes, and somewhere, something softer. A shoe brushing tile. A jacket grazing the edge of a doorframe. A real living presence. He was inside. I looked at Sam and mouthed, closet? He nodded, and we slipped into the walk-in. I eased the door shut behind us, the scent of old cedar and laundry detergent rising around us like a ghost. In the narrow darkness, I could feel his breath. Shallow. Ragged. The warmth of it danced across my cheek as we pressed close, hidden between a line of coats that suddenly felt like thin curtains on a stage. Waiting. Waiting for the curtain to rise. Then, the stairs creaked. Twice. Each step heavier, slower. Measured. Sam shook against me. I could feel his pulse against my chest, his ribs rising and falling like a panicked bird. I wrapped an arm around him and whispered so close to his ear I felt the shiver run down his spine. It's going to be okay. But I didn't believe that. Not really. He buried his face into my neck again, just like earlier, but this time there was no softness to it. Just fear. Raw, unfiltered terror. And then he did something I didn't expect. He kissed me. Desperate. Like he was trying to imprint the shape of my mouth into memory in case this was it. In case this was the last safe place he'd ever know. His fingers tangled into my shirt, dragging me closer, trembling not just from fear now, but from need. It was messy and painful and aching with all the unsaid things between us. And I kissed him back. For that moment, there was nothing else. Not the man in the hallway. Not the storm inside Sam. Just him. Just us. A frantic, sacred collision. Beautiful in its panic. But then, a click. The bedroom door handle turning. We froze, lips still pressed, chests heaving. The door creaked open. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. They stopped just outside the closet. My hand tightened around the bat. Sam's eyes locked with mine in the dark, wide and wet with everything he couldn't say. The closet door didn't open. Instead, he whispered, "Still hiding, Sam?" That voice. It was lower than I imagined. Too casual. Too intimate. Like a memory turned sour. "You always were dramatic. You said you liked games." Sam's entire body went rigid. I felt the breath leave him. "Don't," he whispered so faintly I almost missed it. The voice continued. I waited. Gave you space. But this? Running home to him? The pause. "You always said he didn't mean anything. Was that a lie too?" Sam gripped my hand. He was crying now. Silently. Then, footsteps again. But walking away. The sound of retreating steps, one at a time. The bedroom door closed. Silence. Sam collapsed into me, gasping, half sobbing, half shaking. I held him, fingers gripping his hair, trying to ground both of us in the fact that we were still alive. That nothing had happened yet. But everything had already changed. And then, my phone buzzed. A message. I pulled it from my pocket with shaking hands. A no number, nice kiss. Shame you wasted it in a closet. I looked at Sam. He looked back at me. He knew. He was watching. Still, somewhere. We weren't safe. And suddenly, I didn't know what scared me more. The man who broke into my home. Or the way my heart still fluttered when Sam looked at me like that. We left before sunrise. Neither of us said a word while we packed. The sky was still bruised with night, just a faint wash of pale blue at the edges, like the morning wasn't sure it wanted to arrive. I didn't ask where we were going. I just drove. Sam stared out the window the whole time, his knees pulled up to his chest like he was trying to disappear into himself. The silence between us was thick, too full. Not empty silence, but the kind that begs to be broken, only no one knows how. Eventually, I pulled off the road and parked at a lookout spot we used to visit in high school. The town shimmered far below, distant and unreal. He finally spoke. "Do you think I ruined your life?" The question stunned me. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You didn't ruin anything." He turned to look at me, eyes bloodshot. "I kissed you in a closet while a man who wants to destroy me was 2 feet away. That's not exactly romantic." "Sam, you should hate me." "I don't." He shook his head and looked back out over the lights. "You don't get it. I don't even know who I am anymore. One minute I'm terrified, the next I'm kissing you like it means something. Like I want it to mean something. And I do. But also, I don't know if I can." My throat felt tight. "You don't have to know right now." He laughed bitterly. "That's the thing. I never knew. Not with him. Not with you. Maybe I just want to feel loved by anyone who looks at me long enough." "Don't say that," I said sharply more than I meant to. "You think that's all this was? That I kissed you back out of pity? I think I kissed you because I was scared." "Were you?" He didn't answer. I turned away, jaw clenched, heart thudding in some place between anger and heartbreak. Then his phone vibrated. He looked at it and went still. "Who is it?" I asked. He didn't answer. "Sam." He turned the screen toward me. A new message. Same number. A known number. "You can't hide from me. And neither can he." I reached for the phone, but he pulled it back. "I need to go to the police," he said suddenly. "This is enough. It has to be." Finally, I exhaled. Yes, we'll go together. Now." But something about his face, his expression, it didn't feel like relief. It felt like resignation. "I need to do this alone," he added, voice barely audible. "What? Why would you?" "Because if you're with me, you'll become leverage. And he knows how to use that." I opened my mouth to protest, but he kissed me again. This time, it was soft. Slow. Like a goodbye. "Sam, don't." "I'll come back," he said. "I promise. Just wait for me, okay?" And before I could stop him, he opened the car door and stepped out into the rising light. I watched him walk away, swallowed by the morning haze and the weight of 1,000 unspoken things. But even as he disappeared from view, one thought wouldn't leave me. What if he never makes it back? The summer Sam came back, the heat felt different. He arrived on a Wednesday, early evening, just as the sun was curling behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of bruised peach and rust. The cicadas were screaming, like always, but somehow their cries sounded sharper that day. Less like nature, more like warning. I hadn't seen him in nearly 4 years. Not since he left for college on the other side of the country. Not since the night we drank too much on the roof of my dad's shed and he whispered something into the wind that neither of us ever talked about again. He messaged me 3 days ago. Just a single sentence. "Can I crash with you for a few days?" No smiley face. No context. Just that. I said yes without asking why. Now here we were, him standing at my front door, backpack slung over one shoulder, dark circles under his eyes, and something in his posture that wasn't there before. He used to stand tall. Confident. That night he looked like a question mark. "Hey," he said. "Hey." He stepped inside like he'd never left. His scent hit me first. Sandalwood, sweat, something foreign I couldn't name. Then came his voice, low and tired, as he asked if he could just take a shower before dinner. No small talk. No questions. Just water, as if rinsing off a layer of whatever he was dragging with him might be enough. I watched him walk down the hall to the bathroom. The door closed with a soft click. Steam hissed soon after. And I just stood there, feeling suddenly like a stranger in my own home. I didn't ask what he was running from. Not yet. But I felt it, under his skin, in the way he moved. Like he was watching something over his shoulder. Like the walls weren't thick enough. Dinner was quiet. He picked at his food. I asked about school. He answered in one-liners. Then he looked up and said, "Do you ever think about that night?" I nearly dropped my fork. He didn't have to clarify. I knew exactly what night he meant. The one we swore never happened. I cleared my throat. Sometimes. He nodded like that was enough. Like he didn't want to go further, and yet, there was something hungry behind his eyes. Not for answers, but for permission. Later, after he went to bed, I couldn't sleep. The house felt too still. I paced to the kitchen for water and paused when I noticed the back door, the sliding glass one, was slightly ajar. Just a crack. Barely noticeable. I swore I'd locked it. I stood there for a full minute, staring at the opening, the curtains swaying gently like it, too, was trying to decide whether to let something in or keep it out. Then I closed it, locked it, double-checked. But even as I climbed back into bed, the thought stuck in my mind like a splinter. What if he hadn't come alone? They say nothing ever really happens in small towns. I used to believe that, until the night Sam came back and made me question everything I thought I knew about him, and about myself. It was a Sunday. One of those late summer evenings where the sun hangs too long in the sky, like it's afraid to leave. The air was thick with the scent of cut grass and honeysuckle, and somewhere, a lawn sprinkler clicked in steady rhythm, the soundtrack to another sleepy day on Cedar Lane. I was in the kitchen, barefoot, shirtless, rinsing out a glass. The house was quiet, just the hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of the wooden floorboards beneath me. My mom had left town to stay with her new boyfriend for the week, which meant I had the place to myself. Or at least, I thought I did. I didn't expect to see headlights in the driveway. I didn't expect the knock at the door. I didn't expect him. We hadn't spoken in nearly 2 years. Not after what happened the night of his going-away party. Not after he kissed me behind the garage while his girlfriend waited inside, sipping warm beer, completely unaware. I opened the door, and there he was, older, taller, hair longer, wearing a faded black hoodie like it was armor. He didn't smile. He didn't say hi. He said, "Can I stay here for a few nights?" I remember staring at him, speechless. Part of me wanted to slam the door shut. Another part wanted to pull him into me. Instead, I just stepped aside. "Yeah," I said. "Of course." He walked in like he still belonged there. Like no time had passed at all. We didn't talk much that night. He dropped his bag in the guest room, the one right next to mine, and took a shower. I sat on the couch, pretending to watch TV, heart thudding harder every time the pipes shifted or water hissed through the walls. And then he came out, towel slung low around his hips, hair dripping, and said, "You still sleep with your door open?" I swallowed. "Sometimes." He nodded. "Same." Then he disappeared into his room. I laid in bed that night, staring at the ceiling fan. It clicked with every rotation, soft, rhythmic, like footsteps pacing the room above. I wasn't sure if it was the heat, or the silence, or just Sam's presence that made my skin feel too tight, like I didn't fit in it anymore. Sometime around 2 a.m., I heard a sound. My bedroom door creaking open. Slowly. Deliberately. At first I thought I imagined it. But then I heard soft breathing. Close. Too close. I didn't move. I didn't speak. And then I felt it, the side of the bed dipping, weight settling beside me. A whisper followed. "You ever think about that night?" My heart stopped. His voice was so quiet, so close, I could feel the heat of it on my neck. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because the truth was, I thought about it all the time. But the real question that kept me awake wasn't why he came back. It was why now? And what exactly was he hoping would happen, this time?